I'm going to be on the short clips. No, I'm not. Whee!
Hello and welcome to Bloke on the Range. Now this is the fourth in the Mad Minute series. We've done the number 4 rifle, we've done the K31, we've done the 98K, and we've got some Italian thingy. Yes, a Beretta Tipo 2 M1 Garand, that one. So unfortunately this is going to be a very, very boring video because as you just saw, that was 39 pretty uneventful rounds fired. So unlike Bloke on the Range normally, nothing went particularly wrong and most things went right. So, yeah, as we've been doing all so far, technique-wise, well, with the semi-auto, like load it, get down there, bang, follow through, recoil, let it settle, as soon as the sights settle, bang again until it goes bing, at which point slap another clip in as quickly as you can, plug it forward, get back in, rinse and repeat until the timer goes beep. So it's not that exciting really. So yeah, didn't have any reloading issues, didn't have any jams, didn't have anything else particularly go wrong. So why don't we jump to the video and see if we can say anything at least vaguely interesting about what went on here. So before old me starts the timer, I've got one clip in the rifle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 8-round clips, so 40 rounds, and because I couldn't find my full complement of clips because I moved house and they were in a box somewhere else, I've since found them, I've got the 2 short 2/5 round clips, and I filled them as a precaution. I really didn't want to use them because they require you to push back on the op rod to get them to run. But let's start it. Mental preparation, very zen here. Butt down, clip in. Ooh, that one was a bit stickier, but really nothing particularly exciting. Let's just stop it at this point. There's a couple of points I want to make here using this video as the vehicle for it. Even when you're firing this rapidly, you're still obeying the marksmanship principles, so there's still a follow-through in there. One of the advantages of the semi-auto, obviously the obvious one being it loads itself, but one major advantage of it is that you don't have to disturb your position particularly to get back on aim. So all you have to do is bong, sights will rise, you do your follow through. Now normally with the bolt actions you do a short follow through, just sort of letting the recoil happen, or at least start to happen, so that you're not shouldering into it or pulling your hand away before you've actually let the shot go properly. But with the semi-auto, you can just let it settle down, let it back on, reset the trigger, and as soon as the sights settle back on the target, bong, next shot.
I'm going to be on the short clips.
I thought I might have actually done enough to go over 40. But no, I didn't.
No, I'm not.
39. Unload and go clear, etc, etc. So back in the room now. Now, what I think is quite interesting about this is that doctrinally, in the 1940s, if I remember correctly, manual, they were saying one shot every 2 seconds. In the later manuals, they were saying one shot every 4 seconds, sort of on average. Now, if you do the maths on this, you see that allowing for reloads, one shot every 4 seconds comes out to 12 to 15 rounds a minute, which is basically what everyone else is talking about with bolt actions. But the difference is, and this is something that is noted in Hatcher's notebook, you can be more effective with those same 12 to 15 rounds. And if I reach over here and grab the targets, the group on the M1 was by far the best of these four. Let's take the next best, K31, which isn't far off. But here we've got 24 rounds into 5 inches or so, and this is 39 rounds into about 5 inches or so, but spread vertically, and most real-life targets are longer vertically than horizontally. We've got a much, much narrower spread. It's only about 2 inches horizontally. Now, if you just look at the stats, once you're down at sort of a round every 4 seconds, which is, well, okay, it's way slower than I was doing with any of these, but doctrinally, once you're down at that sort of level, you might just think on the stats, well, there's no point in having the expensive semi-auto rifle. But Hatcher notes that an advantage is that you don't have to disturb your position. You don't have to move a lot. That movement could catch the enemy's eye. And you can spend a lot more time doing aiming and a lot less time working the bolt. And if you look at how relaxed I am shooting that compared to the others, I mean, it's far less tiring. I'm far more concentrated on actually shooting, and the result shows itself on the target. I mean, that is almost twice the number of rounds the 98K fired. And if I just pull out, I mean, that was hard work. They were spread all over the target. I mean, since shooting these initial 4, I've also shot some much worse rifles, including a M16 Beretta carbine, which I fired 15 rounds, and they're all over the place because it was all I could do to get 15 rounds out. Here, I can comfortably get 39. Now, I'm not loading from a pouch. This is under sterile range conditions, so 39 rounds in a combat situation isn't exactly that realistic. So, yeah, I mean, another thing to point out on these tests is that the inherent accuracy of the rifle in slow fire doesn't make an awful lot, if any, difference on these. In fact, the most inherently accurate rifle of them all here is the K31, and the M1, having shot them both at 300, the M1 is a lot less inherently accurate, but this does better because I'm spending more time on shooting and less time on doing other things, notably reloading. Now, the place where a semi-auto has another obvious advantage, in fact indisputable advantage, is up close and personal, that sort of bit beyond bayonet range but beyond aimed individual shots range. And no matter how fast you can fire a bolt action of any kind, you can always fire a semi-auto faster, provided it doesn't jam, which this particular one, if I'm using good ammo, doesn't.
Anything to say about that?
615.
I don't think I hit with all of them. Anyway, that was fun.
So moving on to the stats now, in fact this goes beyond just one page, there's no human errors. I mean, everything went perfectly. We've got splits averaging 1.07. Reloads are 495, 561, 606, 662 for an average of 581, which is a little slower but not a lot than the number 4, but on the number 4 I'm loading 5 rounds at a time, and with the M1 I'm loading 8. So I'm reloading at 1.15 seconds per round on the number 4 and 0.73 on the M1. And also looking at the graph of the splits here, it's absolutely flatlining horizontal. I'm not getting tired. I'm not slowing down like I did with, say, the 98K, which you can see I get slower as I go along. And what's also interesting with the M1 is that I'm getting less variation as I go along. I'm settling down into a nice rhythm, and I'm a very rhythmic shooter. So I find that this is I just settle into a rhythm, and I'm letting the recoil of the rifle determine it. Sights drop down, bong, 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 at about a second a round. And in fact, my fastest split here is under 0.8. Where are we? 0.77, ninth shot. My slowest is 1.4 and a bit. Now, another interesting point that's come out of these 4 rifles is that we've got about 2.2 seconds for the 98K. We've got about 1.5 seconds splits for both the number 4 and the K31, and a 1 second split with the M1. Now, if you look at it, these two are 30% faster than the 98K, and this one is about 30% faster than these two. So this is twice as fast as the 98K. And I just find it interesting that we've got a sort of balance there between how much faster these are than that and how much faster this is than those. Is that worth anything? No, I think it's just an interesting coincidence, an interesting observation. Your mileage may vary. So apart from that, there's not an awful lot to say. This has been a particularly dull and boring video. So if you survived this far, thank you very, very much. If you haven't already, you might consider liking and subscribing. And many thanks to my patrons who pay for the ammunition that was turned into noise in making this video. Thank you so much. If you're not already a patron, please consider becoming one. If you're a $5 a month patron, you get videos the moment they are uploaded, rather than having to wait for them to be launched at an indeterminate point in the future. So please consider that. Thank you so much, and see you again next time. Bye.